Cases podcast, hosted by Damo and Nick Stoppani.
Hello and welcome to Head Cases podcast, and it's episode 4 with me, Damo Sims, and my friend Nick Stoppani, Britain's freshest mental health talk show. Today's show is particularly special because it features a story from about 9 years ago that involves Nick. It highlights how a stranger took time out of her day to ensure of Nick's safety. And later we'll be talking to Linda to discover why she chose to help a complete stranger who happened to be my friend Nick Stoppani.
I'm so glad that Linda has agreed to speak on the show, Damo. Do you know what? At the time, I was in a really dark place. I just found out that I was going to be a dad for the first time. That should be freaking, an exciting thing.
Big thing.
Absolutely. But unfortunately, my relationship at the time broke down. I was clearly struggling and I was deeply worried about the future and whether I'd be involved in my unborn child's life.
Understandably.
Now, it all turned out well in the end, I've got to say that. And my daughter, Leela, she's going to be 9 years old this year, and I can't believe how fast the time flies by.
Doesn't it? Flies,
it's unbelievable. Now, like you said earlier, Damo, this is a very, very special episode for me personally.
Yeah, I know that.
So, what we normally do, Damo, at this point in the show is mention to the dear listener how they can get involved with the show. Now, we do have a WhatsApp number. And as I said, you can get involved and send us your text messages or your voice notes. The number, of course, is 07822 010 819. And if you're outside of the UK, please dial +44 and omit the first 0. So that number, our WhatsApp number, one more time, is 07822 010 819.
Yeah, Nick, and also we have a list of helplines and a website is available on Head Cases website, which is headcasespodcast.co.uk. And on there, you can also find all of our social media channels as well.
Absolutely. All good stuff. All good stuff. Now, I think it's fitting to, if we just briefly just talk about Baby Reindeer, because that's been in the media all over the world. All over the world.
Absolutely crazy.
I mean, did you see the interview that Fiona gave to Piers Morgan?
Yeah, I did.
What was your interpretation of that?
Well, just cards on the table at first. I'd heard all the hype and I did watch the first episode or so of it. And I could see the intrigue. But I'll be honest with you, I don't know whether that lady did herself any favour going on to Piers Morgan because I understand that she's suing, I think, allegedly suing at the minute now for Netflix.
I think they're putting a case together, aren't they?
Yeah, because part of the show, they claim that the show is completely true. And part of that show is they claim that she'd been arrested a number of times for stalking and she'd also been sent to prison for stalking. She's claiming she hasn't. And I'm pretty sure that if the solicitor who's involved in it has done his own work before he's took her on, which I would have thought's an easy check. He knows that she hasn't. So she's got £1 million law case coming in. But the fact that she went on the show and seemed to act a lot like the character on the show, to be honest with you.
A lot of people said that, Damo, A lot of people said that. I mean, that was just the actor that played her. Wow, what a phenomenal actress.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
no, she solely, to me, she carries that show. As in, like, she's so good, the actress who plays the part. Yeah. But the real lady who was on Piers Morgan, she was so contradictory. I've only watched, I knew it was on for a while. I've only watched a few different clips. And there's times where she's saying, I'd only ever met him a couple of times. And then later on in the interview, she's saying, I knew him quite a while and he was somebody I'd seen a lot. And I'm thinking, you can't, see, a liar has to remember to lie. Yes. If you see what I'm saying, you can't just make stuff up as you go along. What I didn't realise when I actually first watched the show, and I've found out since, is the person who the show is about, the actor, the comedian himself, he actually plays himself in the TV show. He is the real person.
Yeah, and it was a play before that, wasn't it?
It was a play up at
Edinburgh.
Was it Edinburgh? That's it, up at Edinburgh. So I think that's where they kind of got the crux from. I don't think he's particularly a good comedian. I'll be honest with you. I've seen funnier people on TV. No, I have. I didn't think he was that funny.
But you're right. That's the thing with comedy. If you don't find something funny, you are correct. There's no point getting.
I'm nothing against him. I mean, obviously he's done very well. I mean, just as in like what my funny bones don't get tickled by his comedy in particular. I watched it and I thought, to me, it was a little bit dated. These other people that do it better do the same thing but do it better. But I take my hat off to you, mate. He's created a show that's gone on to be a Netflix like smash hit. I feel sorry for this woman. I'm going to predict something now that I find very strange, right?
Yeah.
I find it very strange that this woman wasn't contacted by Netflix or anybody else before the show came out. And I'm thinking, is she part of the hype train?
Is she part of the PR?
Is she is the real person it was written about? She is the real person it's written about, but if they've agreed to pay her £1 million, if she makes his allegations, she gets her £1 million, they get that. Because any publicity is good publicity, good or bad, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is, yeah.
So that's my prediction. It'll come out that
she had something interesting to do with point you made there, because as of now, where, we're recording this this now on Saturday, and this episode goes out tomorrow, Richard has not spoken out, apart from a statement saying this is not what the show was intended,
which could have been written by anybody.
Could have been, of course it could.
He just got his name stuck on the end of it. Don't get me wrong, however it's been done, and let's be honest, I mean, I think it was Ricky Gervais who even said, the way things are going with Netflix, I don't know why award ceremonies now, it was one of the Golden Globes he was presenting.
Yeah.
He said, why don't we just forget all this? Everybody comes out, we just say Netflix has won everything and we all go home. Because Netflix is just like a powerhouse.
Yeah.
Whatever it produces, if you've got a show, if you did a documentary and you got a show that was took onto Netflix, pack yourself up, get in your nice house, you're there for life, because you make serious money through Netflix. They are the powerhouse out there, bigger than any I think movie or production company that he has. Netflix is the place to be. So the fact that he's got the show on there is brilliant. That's the reason I find it very strange that such a prestigious and professional organisation as Netflix just went, let's just take this guy's word for it. Everything's true.
I can't see that happening. I really can't,
Mate, it's not hard, is it? You can do like a check on your criminal background.
Of course you can.
Somebody could have easily done a check on this woman's background, and if it showed that she'd never been arrested, never charged with stalking, why would you say she was?
But also, I remember Piers Morgan saying, I think on The Rain or another interview that he did, he said that as a journalist, I could, in 10 minutes, find out who the real Martha is.
Yeah, of course. Look, at the end of the day, it can be quite a seedy world, the press, and I'm pretty sure you know that yourself, is that people can find out any shit on anybody whenever they want, as quick as they want, especially in them kind of circles where Piers Morgan kind of goes. He could have found that information out. I felt a little bit like there's one or two things that went on. She was either bought on the TV to be paraded almost like some kind of, and I mean this with complete respect to her, but more of a derogative term towards the press.
Yeah.
They were treating her like a freak show. Right?
Yes.
Because she would have had a conversation with production companies before she was brought on to speak to Piers Morgan. Somebody within 5 seconds of speaking to that woman would have gone, this is a little bit out there. She talks a little bit kind of, she talks like Martha. She just does. So there's that side of it. But honestly, there's just this thing in my gut, and no one else has mentioned this. It's just something about personal to me until you just spoke about it.
Yeah.
I feel like she's been told that this is part of the PR. Get involved. You can do interviews. You can get money. You can go whatever you want out of it. A book sale. It doesn't matter. It's there now. Do you want to make some money? We'll pay you £1 million anyway. You can say you're suing us. It's brilliant. We don't mind that.
So what you're saying is the duty of care lies with the production company and Netflix?
The duty of care definitely lies with Netflix. It has to. They've produced the show. They've put it out in the public domain. When it was the show up at Edinburgh, that would have been the chap's fault if there'd have been a complaint or an issue from it.
Yeah.
It's only become such a circus since Netflix have got hold of it and made it worldwide famous. And now this woman has had to come forward because she claimed she was being dogged, she was getting death threats, there was all these things going on. So this fault definitely lies with Netflix. They are the people that should have done their homework before they produced this. They should have done. They didn't, and I agree.
The production company, Damo, who actually made the series, is Clerkenwell Films.
Okay, that's the production company. But as you know and I know, and perhaps some of the listeners know, is that the show would have been written up at Edinburgh. He's presenting that as a stage show. So for most people who were up there, they're at Edinburgh, it's a comedy festival, they would take it for what it is. It's a comedy show. It's a show. It's a play.
Yeah.
And the only people that are going to be offended by that is what? So many thousands of people that you might have seen through the week. It could have been a couple hundred. I don't know how busy his show was, but that's what they would have foreseen. The point is that the people then that who bought that would have been Netflix. Netflix would have got the production company involved in it. Production company produced it for Netflix. The legal side of things definitely sits with Netflix, not the production company.
Okay. Well, it's the platform that it's on, isn't it? So,
well, they produced the show.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But Netflix are putting it out there to the public domain. So Netflix should have done their own work. It's as simple as that.
Gosh.
So I agree. She needs to be paid out. If she's not been to prison, defamation of character, that could have lasting damage on her. That could cause her unknown kind of mental health issues.
No, of course.
Having this, saying she was a stalker and went to prison, mate. That's serious stuff.
It is serious stuff. Yeah, absolutely. And we don't know either party, though, Damo, do we?
No, we don't know.
No,
so it's true.
Now, allegedly, the real Martha says that she is in a relationship, or she's been in a relationship for about 5 years with a lawyer. Doesn't matter where the lawyer is, she says. When Piers was pressing her, where is he? It doesn't matter, she said. But my point is, do you think any previous relationships now, because she's in the public eye, they will come out and speak? But will it be an actual relationship or just somebody trying to get on the bandwagon?
Right. I mean this with the greatest of respect when I say this.
Yeah.
I think she's just one of them people who is a pathological liar. Right. I do honestly think that. And I would genuinely be surprised even if there was a lawyer she's been getting out with. Because remembering in the show, which she hasn't disputed, in the show she claimed that she was a lawyer herself and that she was like rubbing shoulders with Cameron and all these members of Parliament. I just think she's one of the people, and they do exist. I've met, I think, 2 people in the past in my life who were found out to just be pathological liars. They just can't help themselves. They have to lie about everything. And
really?
But the crazy thing is, Nick, it's how they go from the basic lie and then they'll start doing massive lies. I've met a guy who was talking about he'd been in restaurants where Beyonce was eating and things like that. And at the time you're thinking, because as humans, we don't question, do we? We're too polite to question. If someone says this is what happened, you just nod and think, well, why would they tell me that if it wasn't true?
So they're like fantasists.
Yes. But it's like once they go for it, they can't stop, and they just and then they've hit that pinnacle. So let's go again. Let's break the glass. Let's go again.
I've often heard the phrase like, "Oh yeah, they believe their own lies." And
no, definitely. Yeah. I think it gets to the point where they do. And I think when she was being interviewed, that's why she said that I've been getting out with this lawyer for about 5 years, and then that had kind of she wouldn't say where he was. I just don't buy it. Honestly, I don't. I think she was just, there was a lot of things she said in that interview as well, which if you listen to it back, she made very childish comments at the end of the sentences. So, for example, one of them was where she said, why would I fancy him? I don't like little boys who haven't got jobs.
Jobs, yeah. Yes.
Now, why would she mention little boy and not got a job? Just say, no, I never went out with him.
Yeah.
That's the end of the sentence. Did you ever go out with him? No, we never went out with each other. That's what an adult would say, a normal operating adult would say. But somebody that's got some kind of bitterness about them, I mean, she's probably thinking, this guy's making millions off me. Millions off me.
Yeah.
I need to slice that pie. And she feels they were angry about it. I'm telling you now, there'll be a book coming out about it. There'll probably be lots of TV shows she can do. She'll make her money anyway, get around the press and everything. But the fact that she's gone onto TV does tell me as well that she does want some attention, because we've seen it before in the past. Perhaps I would I'd go on TV because I'm quite happy with attention. You would go on TV, quite happy about attention. I mean, if we had a public legal issue, I'd be happy to defend myself live on TV. You would do the same. Some people don't. And some people would just kind of want, just like my partner, for example, she wouldn't go on TV for love nor money. If she was invited on for tens of millions of pounds, she wouldn't go on to defend herself.
That was like my mum.
Privately.
My mum, even on camera, just at home, she'd shy away.
She's turned up to speak to Piers Morgan. I'll be honest with you again, just hand on heart, don't really like the bloke. I'll be honest with you, I don't really like the bloke. I think he's got some private values.
You're entitled to that.
Yeah. But she went on. He has a massive feather in your cap to say you were interviewed by him. So I get that. I think she was creating fantasy. I think she was trying to portray that her life was amazing, but she got this problem obviously now with the show. She's going out with a lawyer. Lawyer's obviously on a lot of money, so she's comfortable. She's almost portraying she was portraying the character weirdly.
Yeah, she
that
was.
She is in the show, and I found that very strange. But if she's never been to prison,
it's funny how that's not come out though. You know, surely if she had been to prison, surely by now that would have been in the public domain. Surely.
Well, here's the point, right? If you have any incident at all, round here in Stoke-on-Trent, we have a paper called the Sentinel.
Yep.
And in the Sentinel, you have like the court files. I don't know if you have the same way you are locally. So you have this column. If I go onto the internet now and I type in whoever's name and then put court files, it will bring up, because if you've been to court, it's classed as it's in the public domain.
Yeah.
You've been in court, they have to tell society what you've been caught for, because you could be a threat to somebody, and that's the law, that's how it is. Easily done is if you went onto Google, typed her name in and put down stalking, it should bring up any time that she's been to court or accused of stalking. And if that would have happened by now, the press would have been all over it. She obviously wasn't, so she does need her payout, and I back her on that. Other than that, though, I do think she's a fantasist, and I think she'll make a lot of money out of it, but I do worry about her mental health. I really do, because I don't think she's strong enough to carry it all the way through.
No, see, for me, I'd like to know who she has around her, truly supporting her. Because
I've got a feeling she doesn't.
I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be taking advantage of her, and I think that is very, very dangerous and very, very wrong, obviously.
So for the people, obviously, who are listening to us now, if you've not seen it, do get on there and watch it, because it's a really, really, it's a quality show. It's really been well made.
I watched it all in one go, Damo.
I've not watched all of it. I watched a couple of episodes.
Couldn't stop.
Yeah.
And it was quite disturbing in some places. And obviously Richard himself clearly has got issues.
I agree. I do think he does have issues, yeah.
But Jessica, who played Martha, wow. I mean,
she's brilliant.
It made me laugh, actually, because Fiona, being interviewed by Piers Morgan, said, and she's not even talking Scottish, when they showed a clip of Jessica and Richard on Lorraine Kelly. And Piers said, no, she's an actor, she's putting on the voice.
Yeah.
But I don't believe. Also, Fiona stresses that she has never watched the show. Now, surely a show of that size and it's going around the globe, surely you would have a little peek. But
this is the point, Nick. If you listen to the full show and you really watch what's being said, she constantly says that she's never watched a single episode of it. She's never seen anything of the show whatsoever, yet she keeps referring to the show and scenes in it. She does refer a lot to it, which would imply that, you have. And I think Piers even said at the time, I thought you hadn't seen it, and she said, no, I was told about that.
Yes.
Has she seen it, mate?
Of course she's seen
would.
It,
mate, if there's a show, put it this way, if there was a clip on YouTube that somebody had done round the corner and someone said, you won't mention it, I'd watch it, because you want to see what's been said.
Of course you would.
You wouldn't have a world-renowned international, smash hit show where you're like, it's based on you. Just leave it. I'll bother with that.
I'll go down the co-op.
Plus, if she's offended by it, I know she says she can't bring herself to watch it, but on a serious point, if you're offended by it, I would want to see how they portrayed me.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because if I've been portrayed really bad, then I am going for you. If I haven't, she could watch a show and think, do you know what? Other than that one lie about getting to prison, I think it was a good show.
Do you think
I don't mind.
Do you think £1 million is a reasonable amount?
Well, let's not go on to think. Yeah, okay. £1 million, let's be honest, is a amount of money that can set you up for life. Okay, he wouldn't have you driving around in Ferraris. He wouldn't have you with a massive mansion because you've got to keep the upkeep of all that. But would you have to work again? Not really. You could buy yourself a house,
live on the interest.
You could get a little car and live on the interest. You'd be set for life. You'd be quite all right. If the show was made Netflix a considerable amount more money than that, then I would argue that she probably deserves a bit more. It depends on how much that's really extra as well. I tell you what will be a downfall is perhaps if it goes to court, the fact that she's been on TV and portrayed herself, they could use that as evidence in court against her.
Really?
You think about it. Wow. She's been on TV and made statements that are recorded. It's not hearsay. It's there.
It's there. It's fact. Yeah.
And they would say, well, first of all, the jury, do you think she acts like the character on the show? Well, most juries would look at that and go, yeah, well, she's ticked that box. She's acting like Martha. What about the going to court and she hasn't? Fair enough. Well, we'll pay her off for that there. But the rest of it, I think she's kind of scuppered it. If she'd have kept quiet, she'd look mature. She'd have looked sensible. She's gone on TV and presented Martha to the world. That's the problem.
Gosh.
But we're not here for that now, Nick. We're here for your show, though, aren't we?
Oh, bless you. Well, it's not my show. No, come on.
No, but a stranger got involved in a different way. Well, in someone's life.
But this is why I wanted to talk about Baby Reindeer, because based on Baby Reindeer, what happened to me could have progressed into the storyline of Baby Reindeer. Thank goodness it didn't. Yeah,
well, I tell you what it says. The similarities is it's a stranger that just walked into your life.
Yeah.
The stranger that walked into that chap's life obviously had issues and still does, bad look at things, allegedly. But the person who walked into your life had an extremely profound and powerful impact on not just then, but who you are now, and has helped mold you as a person.
Oh, Joe, I'm so glad that I have been reunited with my angel. We've left her waiting too long, Damien. Let's speak to her.
Yeah, we should speak to her. Okay. Well, Linda, thank you and welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm not doing too bad, thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much as well for coming on. And obviously, I know these a story because you've got a connection with somebody else on the show with Nick. Quite an important story, I think. Can we just go into how did you meet Nick? Can we talk about that day when you met Nick?
Yeah, I can't remember exactly when it was because it was a good few years ago now. But I was at my usual job. I work in a fast food restaurant in Towcester, Northamptonshire, and I started early in the morning and I was a lobby host. And during the morning, I was asked to run out some food to customers that were waiting. And after about the fourth or fifth run out, I noticed this car come into the car park and park up. And I thought, oh, somebody coming into the restaurant. Well, after a few more run outs, I saw that this person was sat in the car and hadn't moved. And something told me something was not right. And I thought, well, I'll keep an eye on the car. For about an hour, the car was still there. So I said to my colleague, I said, when I go back out on another run, if the car's still there, I'm going to go and check to see the driver's okay. So about 15, 20 minutes later, I went out, the car was still there, and something just told me to go over and have a word with the driver, which I did. So I went over to the car, just gave a little gentle tap on the window, and the window came down, and this little fella sat there, quite calm, not really got an expression on his face. And I said to him, I said, is everything all right, my duck? And he just looked at me and started sobbing. And I mean, really, really sobbing. I said to him, I said, it's okay. Don't worry. I'm here. I'm not going to go anywhere. And with that, he put his arms on the steering wheel. He put his head in his arms, and he just absolutely shook and cried and bawled his little heart out. Well, with this, I didn't leave the car. I just stood there calmly, telling him it was going to be okay. I'm here. Don't worry. I'm not going to go anywhere. And I waited for a colleague to come out, and I went over to a colleague and I said, look, I've got to stay with this car a minute. I'll explain in a minute. I'll be in a minute. And with that, I went back to the car, and he was just sobbing his heart out. So I stood there, 15, 20 minutes went past. He was still sobbing. And I just kept saying to him, look, it's all right. I'm here. I touched his arm. I said, look, I am here. Look, I'm here. I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm here as long as you want me to be. And he kind of looked up, looked at me, and then put his head back down and started sobbing. And I stood there thinking, oh, God, he's had some really, really bad news, or something's wrong with a relative, or something's wrong with him.
Yeah.
After about an hour, he calmed down, started to calm down a bit, and I told him to start breathing and controlling his breathing and what have you. And he started like calming down, and he said, thank you. I said, look, it's okay. You don't have to thank me. I just want to know you're okay. That's the main thing. Another colleague came out, and my boss came out to ask me what was happening, and I quickly told them, look, best thing to do is clock me off, because I am going to stay with this young man. I'm not going to leave him until I know he's safe. And at that point, I went back to the car. I wasn't far from the car. And I took the keys out the ignition, because by then I knew that this chap wasn't going to go anywhere until I knew he was perfectly safe to drive. And I just stood there telling him it was okay. He was safe. He was perfectly okay. I was here. And that's how it went for about an hour and a half. And then he stopped crying so much. And I asked him if it was a problem with a family member. He went, no, they're okay. I said, okay. I said, is it you? He goes, no, it's fine. And I said to him about, well, is it a pet or something? He said, no, it's fine. And I thought, well, maybe it's a girlfriend thing. And he goes, I said, well, is it a partner? He goes, yeah. And with that, he started sobbing again. After about another 20 minutes, he took a deep breath, and he kept saying he was sorry. He didn't mean to hold me up for my job. I said, don't worry about that. I just need to know you're safe. He then sat very quietly for 10, 15 minutes, kind of looking into the distance, not really registering anything was going on or whether I was there. And then I said to him, I said, I don't know your name. I said, I'm sorry. I said, I do know you. I said, I've seen you around. I said, but I really don't know your name. And he went, oh, it's Nick. I went, okay. I said, I'm Linda. I said, hello, Nick. I'm Linda. And with that, he relaxed and he started, oh, I'm so sorry. I said, look, you've got nothing to be sorry about. I said, something has really upset you and you just need somebody to make sure you're safe, and that's what I'm doing. And then with that, he took a deep breath and he then explained about his partner and him had split up. They'd recently found out they were going to have a baby.
Yeah.
And I said to him, I said, why did you come to McDonald's? I said, why didn't you go home? he said, I didn't know where else to go. I said, okay, no worries. You're here now. I'm looking after you. You don't have to worry. He was like trying to work it out in his head as well, what had gone on and what had happened. He turned round and he said, what do I do? And I said to him, I said, well, the first thing you need to do is you need to calm down and look at it logically. It's not the end of everything. I said, things can be worked out at the end of the day. You just need to sit down, look at it logically. And he just sat there, and for about 15 minutes, he was just thinking about things. And he was going, yeah, you're right. And I said to him, I said, where do you live? And he said, well, I was here. And I said, well, where can you go that is safe? And he said, well, I can go to my mum's. And I said, okay, where does your mum live? And he told me where his mum lived. And I said, okay. Well, in the meantime, his phone had been ringing on the seat next to him. And I'd noticed that it was his mum ringing. But because he was so upset, he hadn't answered the telephone. So I said to him, I said, you ought to answer your telephone, I said, because your mum's trying to contact you. So he then answered his telephone, spoke to his mother. And before he hung up, I said to him, I said, look, I said, can I speak to your mother? So I spoke to her. And I said to her roughly what had happened. He turned up at the car park, really upset. He'd been here for several hours by then. And I said I wasn't going to let him go anywhere because he was too upset. And she said, right, I live here. I'm X amount of minutes away. I couldn't remember how far away she was. I said, we'll give him the traffic. We'll give him 15 more minutes. I said, so when he leaves me, I will get him to phone you. And then I gave him my number and I said, when he gets to you, you message me when he gets to you, because I need to know he's with you safely. And then about another 20 minutes or so, I asked my colleague to get us a drink of water. So she's got us a bottle of water. He had some water and he calmed down. And he was kind of making more sense. He had a plan, what he was going to do. I then said to him, right, I will now give you your keys back, because I'd taken the keys from the ignition. And I said to him, I said, right, hopefully it'll all go well for you. Hope it all turns out all right for you. I said, I'm going to send you on your way now to your mum's. Your mum will phone me when you get to her. He drove off with a little smile on his face. He kept thanking me, and I kept saying, it's all right, it's okay. Just you make sure everything's okay with you. And off he went. Now, his mum did phone me up. We had a conversation afterwards, and she said to me, thank you so much for looking after my Nick. I've got him now. He will be okay. And I said to her, yes, he will be perfectly fine. He's got a plan. And with that, she hung up. Now, afterwards, I didn't have any knowledge of how he'd been, whether he'd made up with his partner, whether he'd ever seen the child, whether the child existed, or anything. And then, must have been a couple of years ago, he came back through the drive-through. I didn't realise it was him because he'd gone to the other speaker. I only realised it when he'd got round to the window who it was. And that's how we were reunited since the incident. We were then reunited at window 1. And I said to him, I said, how are you? How's it going? And then he had the biggest smile on his face when he told me everything was okay and he'd got a beautiful daughter that he saw. And that put a big smile on my face for the rest of the day.
Wow.
So basically, that was how I met Nick.
That is a very heartwarming story. Can I just want to bring Nick into the conversation now, because obviously, yes, that person that you went out to help was Nick, my co-host. Nick, how does that feel now, listening to Linda talk about this moment in your life again? Can you remember that day? Can you walk us through what was going on with your mind at the time?
Firstly, Linda, thank you so much for coming on the show and just sharing it from your perspective. Listening to you talk there, I was welling up. I had tears in my eyes. And I honestly thought that there was no way forward at that point. And the fact that, you as a total stranger, you took time out to comfort me and to care for me, that I've often said, you are an angel. It's that simple. So thank you. I mean, no words can truly explain how you made me feel, Linda. So I just want to say big thanks.
Yeah, I mean, I just done that day what I knew had to be done, and I knew you needed somebody to be with you, and it just happened to be me, and I was there, and it's all turned out to the best, actually. So yeah, I mean, it was just an ordinary, regular day in my life, really. I'm still at McDonald's. I still work there. I'm still at pounding window 1.
The angel at window 1. That's who you are. Linda, can I just say, I know you said it was a normal day and you felt like it was a normal thing. It's not. I'll be honest with you. It's not everybody would do what you did. So Nick, can I just ask you as well? I mean, can you talk us through this? The emotions of you. Why did you turn up at that drive-through that day? What was going through your mind? What happened when this beautiful, warm soul approached you and decided, for a completely selfless reason, to get involved in what you were going through, and how she helped you and what she means to you now? I mean, this is obviously something that stayed with you.
Oh, it has. Yeah, it's and I've driven through the drive-through with my daughter Leela, and I've actually explained to Leela. I said, this woman, before you were born, I was very, very upset, and this lovely, lovely woman helped me out. But why did I go to? I don't know why I went to McDonald's, Damo, to be honest with you. I've got no idea. I mean, maybe it was a convenient place for me at the time. I mean, we're talking about 9 years ago. So, but the fact that this stranger came and approached me and was that concerned that I didn't even realise she clocked out until you said that, Linda. You clocked out, so that means I owe you about 3-4 hours of wages. But no, honestly, I mean, what would you say, Linda, to any? It doesn't have to be a man; it could be a woman that's going through the same sort of thing that I went through. I mean, because right now the relationship between me and my daughter's mum is phenomenal. It's fantastic. It's wonderful. She's got a wonderful partner. Her other kids love me, and they all come over. It's superb. And I just think if parents that have split up can work together for their kids, it would just be so much easier. But sadly, that's not the case, is it?
I know. I mean, in my family, there's breakups and everything and what have you, but all I can say is, I mean, I've had some really dark moments in my life, and the way I look at it is, it doesn't matter how dark a place you're in, there is always a positive chink of light to look for. It may be a distant glimpse in the distance, it may be a bright shining star to head for, but there always is, no matter how dark a place you think you're in and how deep a hole you think you're in, there is always a glimmer of light and hope that you can come out of that space.
That's
You've
lovely.
just got to look for it.
Yeah. No, it is absolutely. This is what I do now. I mean, even now, Linda, right now, I'm going through therapy. I'm not in a good place emotionally and mentally right now, and I've learned to be open and honest with how I'm feeling. I mean, with what I do, I put on I go live and I put on silly wigs and, I have a laugh. But don't get me wrong, when I'm doing that, I feel so at home, because I am an entertainer. That's all I've done. But I've got to say, I don't know where I'm going with this. What was I saying, Damo? I haven't got a clue what I was talking about then.
I think what you were trying to get at is that even now you still do struggle with mental health, and you still do have these problems. But I think the message that I'm getting from this conversation here is that no matter how dark a situation is for you, like Linda says, there is light at the end of the tunnel. And also, there are fantastic people out there like Linda. I mean, Linda's a complete stranger. Didn't know you. I'll be honest with you. Like I say, you are a rarity. I know me and Nick would do the same thing. We would help people out, but a lot of people wouldn't. I walked past an incident yesterday in the town where I live. Unfortunately, it was a rough incident. There was a couple of men who decided to grab another guy and drag him out of the pub. This is in the daytime, and proceeded to beat him up. I actually got out of the car across the road and shouted at him to try and stop him from doing anything. But there was people standing and watching.
Yeah.
So not everybody wants to help.
But these days, they also watch whilst filming on their mobile phone.
Oh God, yeah.
But you are a salt of the earth kind of person to me, and it is quite rare.
And I think the way I deal with things, Linda, is I live moment by moment, and that is one thing that I've learned.
Yeah,
just live moment by moment.
You've got to take every day as it comes, and I mean, nobody's promised tomorrow. Nobody is promised tomorrow, so you make the most of what you got today. You tell all your loved ones you love them. And that's it, really.
Yeah, I know, darling. And I do. I mean, my mum, bless her, she passed away in December. And, I've got no words, Linda.
It's hard.
It is hard. It is hard.
Do you know what someone once said to me is that the past is history, the future is a mystery, and today is called the present because it's a gift.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's the way you should look at every day. Every day is a gift. Yeah. So another great saying, someone once said, and I think this is brilliant. Someone said to me once, "You only live once." And the reply that they had back was, no. You only die once. You live every day.
Yes.
And you do live every day, don't you?
Very good.
It's true though, isn't it?
That is true.
Don't think of it, you've got one life. Just think of it, you've got one amazing day right now. And tomorrow you've got another amazing day. Just take it day for day, mate.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you, mate. I'm proud of what you go through. I know, and the fact that you bear yourself open on the podcast all the time. Like I say, I have nothing but admiration for how open you are, and the people you're helping, and the people like Linda are helping by talking right now on the podcast is immeasurable. So thank you so much, Linda, for speaking to us.
Linda, just explain.
No problem.
Just explain how I made contact with you again after all these years.
Yeah. Yeah. You came through the drive-through at work and you left your name and your contact deals, and you specifically said, these are to be given to Linda. And I had a little incident before when a number was left under my windscreen. So my colleagues at work were ribbing me to say, you've called again, Linda. You're in drive-through. You've called again, mate. You got another number to add to your list.
You dark horse.
So I thought, oh my goodness. What happens in my drive-through stays in my drive-through.
Hey, I tell you what, though, in my book, that's classed as stalking as well. So just remember that.
Just on that note of stalking, I mean, obviously with Baby Reindeer, that you know, the Netflix hit, the smash hit, and then the real Martha coming out and you know, demanding £1 million for the interview for Piers Morgan. I mean, do you know much about? Have you seen that series, Linda?
No.
No. Well, my point, why I bring it up is, you know, I'm not saying I would have done or you would have done, but it's a similar sort of thing. You know, this guy, he was in a pub, this lady walked in, she was a bit down, and the chap offered her a cup of tea. And from that moment, this lady stalked him.
Oh, goodness.
Allegedly.
Got to say that. Allegedly. Allegedly, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. He's become a bit of a crazy lawsuit going on at the minute. But let's just forget about Baby Reindeer. Let's talk about the angel at window 1, because that's the main thing we're talking about today.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. Linda, obviously you've got an extremely large heart. You're a really warm person. Is this something that were you brought up this way? Is this kind of, did you have that lovingness kind of nurtured into you?
Well, I come from a family, I'm the eldest of 6 girls, and I was brought up with, you always respect your elders, and you always help others wherever you can. And in the village I come from, if you had somebody that was ill or what have you, people in the village would make them a meal and take it up so they didn't have to worry about cooking. If somebody was, say, somebody's wife had gone into hospital, the village would rally around to cook meals, look after the kids, have the kids for sleepovers so the dad could go to work and not have to worry about the kids. I mean, it was just generally, you had a big open family. Everybody was a family member, even though they weren't. You were just brought up to look out for each other, really. And that's what I've kind of done throughout my life, really. Sometimes people call me a nosy bugger, but other people appreciate the help I offer.
Yeah, that's human nature. I think the nosiness is just human nature. Yeah. And I think if you're a good elk, if you're a good person, sometimes being nosy is just because you're looking out for people, not really nosy. Being the eldest of 6 sisters, I presume that's kind of give you that motherhood, that kind of feeling of looking out for people, looking after people. So you've had some fantastic training, I would have thought, for your life to get to where you are. And you come across as such a wonderful person. So for myself, I want to thank you so much, Linda, for coming on and talking to us on the podcast. I wish you all the best. And I'm pretty sure that I may not, because I live in sunny Stoke-on-Trent, but I'm pretty sure Nick will see you very soon at window 1 again.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I will get chicken nuggets. I do like chicken nuggets. Oh, yes. Linda, thank you very much. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, it's been lovely talking to you, and I will hopefully see you soon. Okay?
You take care, darling.
Take care.
Bye.
Take care, darlings. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. So, Nick, an absolutely wonderful show again, full of human compassion, the best of what humans can really bring. You know, we hear so much about all the bad in the world, but Linda, what a wonderful, wonderfully warm person. But been a great show. What do you think?
Well, as I said, listening to Linda speak so open and honestly, it was emotional.
I could see it. I could see your eyes welling up, and I could see that it was affecting you. And I take my hat off to you holding it together, mate, because I could see that it was taking you back through that time again. But what a wonderful show again, and we hope that people out there who are listening to this can take from that there might be bad people in the world and there might be bad situations, but there's great people out there and there's great things in the world for experience. So I just want to thank everybody once again for joining us. And remember, if you'd like to reach out to us, you can do that by visiting headcasespodcast.co.uk, where you can email us, and all our socials are on there.
Absolutely. We've got helplines, we've got websites that you can go and see. And I tell you what we do have is a WhatsApp number. You can text us, you can send us your voice notes. 07822 010 819 is the number. That's 07822 010 819. And of course, if you're outside of the United Kingdom, which a lot of people are, Damo, a lot of people are, then use +44, which is the UK code, and omit the first 0. It is that simple. 07822 010 819.
Absolutely. Right, guys. So thank you so much once again for joining us. And until next week, take care, look after each other, and spread the love.
And hashtag Let's Get Talking.
Head Cases Podcast, hosted by Damo Sims and Nick Stoppani. Headcasespodcast.co.uk